Welcome to the podcast, Liam Kennedy, mental health warrior. I've been so looking forward to having this chat with you, mate. How are you doing today?
Good, mate, good. A lot better than last week. I've been going through difficulty physically. Fibromyalgia, chronic pain, chronic fatigue, extreme exhaustion. But the last 3 days have been a godsend. It's lifted by about 50%. So although it's still 50, it's not the 100. So I'm grateful and I feel blessed that I'm able to enjoy things again, because the last 3 days have just been a nightmare. Mentally, though, I'm in the shape of my life.
Yeah, this is something that I've got from you the whole time we've been chatting, because it's been a couple of months we've been chatting now and kind of planning this podcast and kind of getting to know each other and that. And something that's always struck me by you is it doesn't matter how your body is doing, you are always so mentally strong. Always got great words to say of kindness and support for other people who are suffering, and just the compassion that comes out of you bowls me over, mate. Like, I think you're an incredible human being. I really do.
Thank you, mate. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, do you want to tell everybody maybe a little bit about your background and kind of what's brought you to this point now of being this mental health warrior? I think it's such an interesting story, and before we kind of get into chatting about it, it might be an idea for people listening just to kind of know the background a bit.
Yeah. Well, I'm 36 next month. I've been suffering with mental health issues since the age of 20. I was working in a sports college. That's like my background, sport. I played semi-professional football. I've been a bodybuilder at one point. So I'm like really super, I was super fit at the time and, very proactive. And I got a job working with disabled adults.
Okay.
And it was fantastic. I just thought, this is what I want to do. I want to help people. And one of the lads that I got close with ended up passing away.
Oh, no.
So it hit me hard, and I'd never experienced that before. I've never had a bereavement, that I could remember, or I was old enough. And it hit me hard, and I started having all these new emotions. And what I didn't realise was that I was depressed. And then I started to hear voices. And then I spent a lengthy time off work due to me, mental health issues. And in the end, after about 6-7 months of coming back to work, I had to go back off work due to stress, because I couldn't forget what had happened, and it was just really getting to me. I wasn't educated on mental health at the time. I didn't understand what it was, or never thought about it. And then for the next 3 or 4 years, I was just getting seen by support workers every other day. Getting put on new medication, which was difficult because it was making me not feel great. Because as you know, it takes about 6 to 8 weeks for it to develop a tolerance level in your system.
Yeah.
So I had all that going on, and then after about another year, because of my footballing background, I was introduced to Everton in the Community. I'm not sure if you've heard of that organisation.
No, I haven't actually.
Yeah, it's Everton Football Club, but it's like a charity organisation, Everton in the Community.
Okay.
And because of my footballing background, there was a football programme called Imagine Your Goals.
Okay.
So I was invited to go down. So on the first day, I was nervous but excited because I love playing football.
Yeah.
And the lads that were there, just similar issues, mental health problems. The lads are just openly talking about mental health, which I found refreshing. And
so how long ago was this, Liam? Put that in the kind of time frame for me.
Yeah, sorry, that was.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
Was I then? Yeah, I was about 24 then, 25.
Okay, yeah. So just over 10 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah, 10 years ago. So I'd been ill for 5, coming up to 5 years.
I was thinking mental health was still very much a taboo back then as well, wasn't it? Do you know what I mean? It didn't have the sort of social coverage it does now.
No. And I still believe there's still a lot of work to do as well.
Oh, hell yeah. I agree with you 100%, mate. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So then I started to build my confidence again. Playing football, interacting with other people. And then I started talking openly about my mental health. And that sort of opened this gate of positivity. And I started to write. I thought I need to write. I just need to write things down. So I started off a diary, and then it became. I just started to write a motivational passage, and it was just about what I'd been through, and then I shared it with the lads from the organisation I was part of, and it really hit home with a lot of them. So then I started to write poetry, and it's just what started off as like a hobby. It quickly became an obsession. It was an addiction, and I needed to do it.
You found it to be an outlet, is what I've got from the conversations we've had. It was like an outlet for what was going on in your head. Yeah. That's fantastic. I mean, that's just right up my street as a creative therapist. I hook right into that because that is a creative expression of the trauma that you've experienced. And I think there's nothing better for sort of rehabilitation, if you like, and kind of working things out than expressing yourself creatively. So I'm so glad that you found that naturally with no help whatsoever. It seems like it kind of came to you almost.
Yeah. I think like maybe it was already in me. It just took something to access it. It took something to activate that skill that I had, and so, like I said, it became an obsession and an addiction. But then I started suffering with PTSD, and I hadn't dealt with this issue when I was 9. I was raped and tortured by 2 older men in a park, and that had been in my mind every day until since it happened.
Fucking hell, Liam. That's Jesus, man.
I know.
You've been carrying that for so long, man. Jesus.
Yeah. So I started to my behaviour became erratic, and I was just like I wasn't myself, and it really got because I basically buried it. I buried what it was. Until it started to surface again, and I didn't know what was going on, and I was imploding. I really was. But after like a few years of battling, what I was going through, I was in a desperate situation. So I went to it's called the Recovery and Resource Centre, which it's based in Western Hospital, which is in Liverpool, Prescott. And I had 13 sessions with this gentleman called Anthony, and he really helped me. And I come out of it like able to control the thoughts. I think about it every day, but I don't let it do what it done to me in the past. I don't let it consume me. I don't let it control me. It doesn't like I'm not a puppet to it anymore.
No, absolutely. I mean, the way I always think about trauma when I've worked with trauma with clients is you can heal a wound, but there'll always be a scar. You'll always carry a scar. No matter how well the wound heals, there'll always be a scar. It's like if you cut your skin, it will knit back together over time. You can even stitch it back together or glue it like they do these days, but you'll still be left with a scar.
Of course,
in a lot of ways, that trauma never goes away, even though you make peace with it, even though you come to terms with it, you heal from it. It's always going to leave something with you, and that's just unavoidable.
But so I finished my therapy, and I knew after about 9 sessions that I was I'd controlled it and I was in charge. But I wanted to just fine tune. The last 4 sessions were basically me just fine tuning my mind. And since then, today, thank God, and I feel blessed for this, that I am 434 days depression and PTSD free.
That's amazing.
Still think about it. Thank you, mate. Thank you.
That
I still
amazing.
think about it, but I don't let it control me anymore. And since being involved, like I started a TikTok account. Am I allowed to mention that on here?
Of course you can, mate. Yeah, mention whatever you want. Yeah, we'll put links to all your stuff in the show notes and all, mate. Yeah, please. Yeah.
So I started a TikTok account, and I started to create videos, which I've shared some with yourself, which have had a good response from you.
I mean, TikTok was where we got in touch. You found me on TikTok because I just started a TikTok account and put a couple of shorts out, and that's how we met each other. And been chatting ever since. Yeah, I think TikTok's an amazing place for that kind of stuff. It really is. Yeah,
and I don't like what happened to me in the past, but it's led me to this moment. Today, I think about fate. Me and you were meant to cross paths. It was just destiny.
Yeah, I'll agree with that one.
Yeah, and now also sorry, I backtrack a little bit to 2021.
Yeah, please do.
I was diagnosed with cancer.
Yes, this was the other thing I wanted to ask you about. I mean, God, talk
Yeah.
about blow after blow after blow. I don't know many people who would still be mentally standing after this, mate. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I really don't.
Yeah. So I was actually in work and I collapsed. So went to the hospital, and they wanted me to have a colonoscopy because they weren't happy with the tissue. They found the growth, and then it ended up being stage 3 colon cancer.
Christ.
Then I had chemotherapy. The surgery was successful, thank God. I've now got a colostomy bag for life, and at first I was bitter over that. But now it's just a way of life now. It's part of me, so it's part of my uniform now, my outfit. And then I had chemo, and that I'm still going through, as well as the other issues I've just stated about my physical health, I'm still going through long-term side effects from the chemo. So I still feel like I've just had chemo yesterday. That's what it makes me feel like.
Yeah.
But
for people who don't know, do you want to describe just the effects of that on the body? Because so many people, it's hard to understand if you've never been through it.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. If you wouldn't mind, mate, that would be great.
Yeah, go on. When I was hooked up to the IV and I had the solution going into my system, it made me feel cold. I had to put a blanket around me in the hospital because it makes you feel cold. Pins and needles sensation all around your body, and once you finish your first cycle, on the way home in the car with my missus, I was hunched over because I was that weak. It doesn't just take the bad sort of like the bad chemicals out of your system, it takes good cells as well. And I had 4 cycles of 1 round of chemo, and it was hard. It was so hard. I couldn't drink cold drinks because it closes your throat up, and you feel like you're choking to death. Where you can't breathe. Yeah, that was tough. But as hard as it's been since with the physical issues, because of the chronic pain and fibromyalgia, I'm blessed to be here. I feel blessed. I'm lucky. I'm lucky to be here, and I think this is like a reiteration of this. Just you were meant to just survive anything that's thrown your way. I know that might sound a bit righteous, but I just mean that's just my belief. I was meant to get over my struggles and how I can educate others and inform others about what mental health is, and I can talk about like you just said, be open about what the chemotherapy was like.
Yeah, I think that's fantastic, mate. I mean, we can sit and have the debate about fate or determinism and all the rest of it. I mean, myself personally, I think it's a mixture of both. I think some things in life are fated and you have some choice over others. But it doesn't really matter what you believe. If it makes sense to you and that's how it feels to you, man, I think that's entirely relevant. If you feel like you were put here to help other people learn from your journey and share everything you've been through in order to help other people, then fantastic. We need people like you in life to spread good word and to talk about what they've been through. I mean, man, I was sitting here thinking, like, what would it have been like for you if you'd not discovered, like, Everton Community Charity and, the football charity, and if you hadn't discovered, like, or if you hadn't had a good therapist, which it sounds like you had a great therapist to work with, what would it be like for you now if you hadn't had those things before everything else happened to you? It's kind of worth thinking about that and thinking, my God, it kind of feels like some of that was fated,
Yeah. And as well, sorry, I've missed this out, but when I was 10 years ago, when I was 24, 25, I suffered a breakdown. I was still living with my mum and dad at the time, and this almost eclipses the cancer. As a villainous figure in my life. I entered a breakdown. I was severely depressed, and this breakdown lasted 10 weeks. Wow. So 1 week into the breakdown, the doctors decided it was a good idea to take me off all medication, but not replace it. So for the remaining 9 weeks, I went through horrific withdrawal symptoms, you know, vomiting and just, it was horrendous. I was averaging 2 hours of broken sleep a night. So I was getting 10 minutes here, 15 minutes there, 10 here. I was hearing 8 different voices. I was weak. I never ate anything. And I'd lost so much weight. So my bedroom wasn't a bedroom anymore. It had become a cave. It became something that was so dark. It was like a tunnel with no light. So like each day felt like a year. Honestly, it was just like, it was relentless.
I can imagine.
I was so weak, and as I was getting through the weeks, I was getting worse and worse, and I was like, it's as if like a thread was dangling, and little bits of it were coming off, and I was getting to the very end. So when I got to week 9, I had to like sort of rally the troops inside of my body and go, look, okay, what are we gonna do? Are we gonna fight, or are we just gonna succumb to this? So I'd still not done anything about it. And then on the 10th week, which was the last, I call it, it's not just the last day of the breakdown, it's the first day of the rest of my life. That's what I call. And I was given, I don't know what it was, because I was hallucinating as well, but some higher being or some sort of force gave me 2 options, and it was, okay, Liam, option A, stay in your bed, suffer, struggle, this is you for the rest of your life, just go to sleep, get comfortable. Or no, Liam, option B, take the covers off you, get out of bed, lift some weights. I had dumbbells, I started lifting weights. So I chose the harder option. And although it was the toughest thing I'd ever had to do, it was the most rewarding thing, because I was free. I felt like I was encased in concrete.
Yeah, I can understand that.
Yeah, or ice, like a big block of ice. And I've really tried my best, and I've smashed out of it. And I can finally move, and I feel freedom again. So although I was very weak and sick at that moment, I'd made the decision at the right moment, because if it didn't, I probably wouldn't be here now. I chose the harder option, and the depression began to lift weeks after that. I was put back on medication, so I had that in my system, which helped massively. And the sleep returned, plus the fact that the voices diminished. They went to 1, and I've had that 1 ever since, and I can hear it now. I've got a screaming woman in my head. But the way I see it now, it's I don't feel bitter because I'm hearing a voice. I'm grateful that it's not 8 and it's only 1. So that's the way I see it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So especially the last since I've been depression and PTSD free, I've felt this new sense of freedom. And I think I've said this here on a message. 50% of the work was me getting well, and I was never satisfied with just doing that. I felt it'd be a crime if I did not take advantage of the new skills that I've developed. So the other 50% now is going to take me the rest of my life. And that is basically now me helping others combat mental health. And I'm privileged to be in this position. I want to be the person I needed when I was going through difficulty. I want to be that person that I needed. I want to be that to others.
Yeah, that's
and it drives me. It drives me every day, and my fuel is knowing that I'm making a difference. I want to provide for my partner and my little boy. You know, I want to. They're my motivation and my inspiration. I want to provide for them. I want to stay well. I want to be successful. I want to look after them.
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. I think there's nothing better driver than feeling like you've got a pull to go and help other people.
Yeah.
You know, I can completely relate to that. I felt called to be a counsellor. You know, I felt a pull to do that, to want to help other people overcome their fears, their obstacles, their traumas, and get better. So, yeah, something we share in common there, mate, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
That's it, mate. It's good. And I do believe it was destiny that our paths crossed, because we're doing this today, and this is going to make a difference.
Oh, absolutely. Somebody will be watching this at some point and think, yeah, wow, that's an incredible story. If he's conquered that, I can conquer this thing that I've been facing.
Yeah.
You know, if Liam can better himself, then I can better myself. And I think that's such a powerful message that I get from so many of your videos, mate. You know, when I watch them, is just that message of hope and, you know, the never give up message. And I just love it, because that is powerful stuff. It's really powerful stuff.
Thank you, mate. Thanks, Rich.
Yeah, I'm
And
happy to do my bit to help spread the word, mate. Absolutely.
yeah,
And
no,
I'd
no,
love to see you be a published author and, you know, all the rest of it as well. You know, we've kind of
yeah,
talked about this before. I'd love to kind of help you along that way. Because
yeah.
I think that the stuff you put out is not just powerful, it's also incredibly well written. I think you've clearly got a talent, you know.
Thank you.
I don't know whether you feel like maybe you'd like to share a piece of your poetry with us.
Um,
Is that difficult or?
I can get some poems, but you'd have to give me 30 seconds. Is that okay?
That's absolutely fine, mate. No problem.
I'll read a couple out then. This one I wrote recently. It's called A Hero to My Peers. My main aim and my main ambition is to be a hero to my peers. My words are the ammunition that will help alleviate your fears. I believe that you will succeed with whatever you go through. Knowing that you're in control will help you to subdue. The mental strength that I possess did not happen overnight. The hard work that I put in turned darkness into light. I want you to know that I will always have your back. Join me on the battlefield, it's now time that we attack. Allow serotonin and endorphins to provide you with a high. Let's now take on our illness, this is my battle cry. Left foot, right foot, move in a forward direction. Allow your inner strength and heart to make a clear connection. Fall in love with life again. Happiness will help ease the pain. Good habits must then be attained. You've nothing to lose, but everything to gain. We're behind in the race. We must make up ground. Our inner strength must then be found. The end is in sight. You've come so far. You battle hardened, and you have so many battle scars. I know you may be struggling now, but know your pain will end. The heart and fight that you possess act as the perfect blend. My duty in life is to help you. I will do this till I die. There are rules in place that we need to abide. It's so crucial we comply. Fighting is in our DNA. We're primed for all-out war. Depression will start to retreat because it cannot take no more. Knowing that you keep fighting back, this fills my heart with pride. The strength that you possess from within will help act as your guide. That's my first one.
That's awesome. I really like that. I love the line about the battlefield because I do think sometimes mental health is a battlefield, and you know,
Yeah,
we don't think about it like that. I think people sometimes have a misconception of mental health that it's only a bad thing, it's a negative thing. But I was trying to get across that no, you know, mentally healthy is something you need to think about, not just suffering with mental health. You can have good mental health and you can have bad mental health, you know, and it's like you know, like you go to the gym for your body or you exercise your body, you need to exercise your mind too. And I think it's super important. And I don't think that's something, well, I don't know whether you agree with this or not, but something I certainly think is, society doesn't really encourage mental health. It doesn't encourage people to be mentally healthy. There's no encouragement to go out and exercise your mind. If anything, people are encouraged to not think. You know, people are encouraged to not think, and I believe people need to think every day. They need to think about a struggle, need to think about the things they're scared of. You need to face your fears. You need to have a bit of a struggle, you know, which is where the idea of the battlefield comes in. And I love that so much. I think that's a brilliant piece of writing.
Thanks, mate. Thank you. Okay, this next one's called That's Part of My Master Plan. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words can be destructive. Depression will do all it can to be counterproductive. I'm intricate with each detail. That's part of my master plan. Survival of the fittest. I believe that I'm the man. If you say you can't or you say you can, you're absolutely right. You have all the attributes, but are you ready for this fight? It's so important that you decide to believe in yourself. If you're to have a successful life, you must take care of your mental health. Every day I am up for the fight. I lead with the left, follow through with the right. I'm in a race with depression. It's second, I am first. I continue to extend my lead. I've developed quite a thirst. Some days when I'm battling depression, I am full of so much rage. I feel like a frustrated lion who wants to break free from his cage. Every single thing that my depression put me through, it's now payback time and I am ready to construe. Depression no longer harms me. To be precise, it can't do nothing. It's been buried 6 feet deep. It's now inside the coffin. This war against my illness will last my whole entire life. I must remember my training if I am to survive. I'm not satisfied for the fact that I now find myself well. It's up to me to help my peers by helping them to escape hell. Take my hand, fellow warrior, and let me help you to your feet. Victory awaits us, and it will taste so sweet. How did I conquer mental health? That's a question I'd like to answer. I guess I began to believe in myself when I beat stage 3 cancer. Things are really good right now. This is something I admit. As each single day passes by, I'm becoming more mentally fit. That's my next one.
That's awesome as well, mate. I love that. I love these. I really do. Yeah, you need to get these published, mate. I'm going to put you in touch with a couple of people I know that might be able to help you with that. Because I really do believe that is powerful stuff. And, you know, I'm not sure whether you saw the podcast I had with James Lindsay that was out last week. I think it was last week. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it did, yeah.
Yeah. So he's an author and written mental health poetry as well. And I think there's just something that really pulls me towards mental health poetry. I don't know whether it's because I'm, you know, a mental health professional and it's the kind of language I speak or not, but I don't know. I just feel like it just gets the message across with words in a way that you couldn't if you were to write it as a paragraph or a story or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or, you know, it comes across when you make a video and you put it out and you're reading your own poetry. I get a real sense of like exactly what you mean by those words. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. I think it's incredibly powerful. Incredibly powerful.
I like to think I come across with passion.
Yeah, definitely.
Drive, you know, and determination. I want in me pieces that I write, they contain messages, and them messages are like I've planted seeds in people's minds when they read it or watch me video, and it's heart, strength, fight, hope, wisdom, tips, help, advice, all of that. All mixed in, and it's a recipe. And if things work, throw it in. If they don't, take it out and continue to work on that recipe. And that's my philosophy of life. It's a recipe.
It is. You're absolutely right. You've got to put in the right ingredients to get the flavour out you want, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so how long does it take you to sort of write a poem? Do they just sort of come to you, or is it something you work on over a period of days? Do you have a concept and then make it into something, or do they just sort of come out fully formed?
That poem, the second one, that's part of my master plan. I wrote it in 4 minutes.
Wow.
I was listening to music, and sometimes I've been on the bus or the train, and my battery will be low, which I didn't realise, and I'll go to write a poem, and my battery goes, and I forget it then. So I tend to carry a little notepad and a pen with me, and I write it down, because if I don't, I just think, oh God, that could have been a good one, you know, that could have helped people, and it annoys me that I wasn't prepared, but now I am. So, like when I listen to music, my style of music, I like to think that poems have got a bit of a flow to them, because I try and make them as a rap, like hip hop and rap and stuff like that. Like that's how I try and mirror. I try and take what I'm listening to and implement it into the piece that I'm writing.
Sorry, mate, just being attacked by a wasp. That's the problem with having the doors open in the conservatory on a sunny day, as you get things flying in. Yeah, I think I was just thinking then as well that there's so many different kind of ways of writing. I love they come out of you fully formed, and having a notebook on you at all times. I'm constantly scribbling stuff down in notes on my phone or bits of paper, or do you know what I mean? And you're right. If you lose it in that moment, it's just gone. I know guys who write music, like lyrics for songs and stuff like that, and they'll sleep with a notepad by the bed, because sometimes they'll wake up in the night for a wee or something, and he's like, oh, I've got this line in my head, I'm just going to write that down. I think it's so important to capture creativity when it's there, because you can't choose it, can you? It just pops out, you know, when it wants to show its head. It's like, hi, I'm here.
Because you get this you don't know when a little spark of inspiration is going to happen. So you need to be prepared at all times. There was one once, I wrote this poem, and I was reading through it, and I even, like, you know, giving myself a big head, I was like, this is really good. So then I deleted it by accident, and I couldn't get it back.
Oh, no.
I was like, oh, no.
Oh, got it.
So, like, I still think about that lost poem, and I just think, I opened my phone one day, just like it materializes on my phone again, And I was gutted. I thought, because I really invested a lot of thought into it, because it was like clever wordplay, but it was relevant to what what my life's about and what mental health is. And when I pressed the wrong button and deleted it, I was like, oh.
Oh, maybe that one just wasn't meant to be right now. Maybe it'll come
Yeah,
back to you later, mate, you know. Oh dear, oh dear. Yeah, I've had moments like that in a recording studio where, because I used to record music, like as an amateur, I used to have an amateur studio in my house. Used to have bands in and record and stuff, and I've done things like that. I've recorded a great vocal and then hit the wrong button and it's gone. You're like, oh no, why did I do that? Why did I do that? So annoying. So yeah, I was going to ask as well, mate, with the physical health, because quite often, and something I've explored quite a bit on this podcast, is the link between mental health and physical health, the body and the mind connection, and there is a lot of thought, and I proved this to myself recently as well, by getting back into doing daily exercise, is that, my God, it makes you feel good. If I get up and I'm a grumpy shit, which is most mornings, to be fair, 10 minutes out on my bike, 15 minutes out on my bike and back in, get the blood pumping, and do you know what I mean? Kind of get the endorphins flowing around the body, and I'm feeling good. How do you manage? How have you been managing with that? With obviously the physical limitations that you've had. Is that something you've struggled with? You've missed? Is how's that played out for you?
Yeah. I haven't like really. I mean, this might sound like an excuse, but I haven't really been able to like take the time to go on a run, or I've just been in that much pain. I go for walks. I make an excuse to go to shop, so I can walk for 10 minutes there, 10 back.
Yeah, I mean, walking's great, man. I love walking, being out in nature and that, and it is good exercise, and it's a good way of getting yourself outside, getting fresh air and all the rest of it. But I'm not surprised you've found it hard to exercise with all the pain you've been in and everything. That must be an almost impossibility. So that was why I was wondering, how have you kind of coped through that? How have you done that for yourself? But walking's great.
Yeah, because if I wouldn't have been in the shape I'm in now mentally, it would have been a recipe for disaster. Both physical and mental health not working, as they should. My mental strength has got me through the disappointments of the physical side. I've never felt this focused. I feel I'm improving every day. I was saying to my dad the other day, I said, I feel really focused. I've never been this focused ever. He went, how do you mean? I said, well, imagine a brain surgeon just about to do 16-hour brain surgery. How focused is he got to be? And that's how I feel now. I feel that fine, that in tune with every single thought that I've got inside my mind. I'm in control of everything. I'm 6 moves ahead of me illness. And that's how I describe how focused I feel right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And determined as well is something I really get from you. You're so determined to get this out there, to do this, to push this forward, to help other people. Where does that determination come from, mate? Where's that? I mean, that's quite a quality to have in that strength that you've got it in. You know?
It comes from basically, I know what struggling feels like. And I know what, in a good position feels like. I know what happiness and freedom. And every time I choose happiness and freedom. And the fact that I'm determined, I'm driven by helping others. I wake up every day and I think, okay, who am I going to help today? Who can I help today? So I'll do a video, I'll write a poem, I'll do a passage. And the comments I get, I don't do it selfishly so people go, oh, Liam, you're great. I get messages daily off people saying, Liam, it was as if you were meant to make this for me. I was going through a really shitty day today, and I read this or I watched that, and it's given me the strength to carry on. And that's why I do it, and it validates why I'm doing it.
It's knowing you made a difference, right?
And I was meant to do this. I was meant to be tested with my mental health. I was meant to get, be tested. I was meant to have so many obstacles before me, but I was also meant to come out of it much stronger. I'm even before I had my mental health problems, I've never been this mentally well, and that I know that might sound a bit mad, but I've not been even before I got sick with my mental health, I've never been this strong mentally. And I've got to take advantage of the way I'm feeling, because if I don't, of a slack and think, oh, I've worked hard today and I can't switch off. But I mean that in a good way. I don't mean like I'm a prisoner to like my thought process. I just mean, any time of day, a little bit of inspiration will hit me, and I've got to take advantage of it. I'm solely driven by helping people.
Absolutely.
And that's what I want to do.
That's fantastic, man. I think we need more people like you in the world, Liam, if I'm honest with you, mate. I really do. Because,
Thanks, mate.
It's there's a lot of people out there suffering, and I'm so pleased that you get comments back. And do you get people contacting you as well and sort of saying, I've suffered with this, I've suffered with that, can you help me? That kind of stuff, yeah.
I encourage people to get in touch with me. I always say, you can message me, I'll give them my email address, and I have like, some days it could be 20 messages off people. Some it might just be 3 or 4. If you can just my philosophy and sort of why I do what I do. If I can help someone, then they can mirror what I've done, and then they can help someone, and then it'll spread like a positive domino effect. Where the dominoes fall down, you're lifting people up, so the dominoes coming back up, and you're spreading it like that. So where I've helped someone, then them, and it's like a positive virus.
Yeah, it kind of spreads exponentially, doesn't it? You know what I mean? It's sort of the more it goes. Yeah, that's lovely, mate. That's lovely. I think, I was wondering, have you ever thought about doing coaching qualifications or mentoring qualifications or anything like that, and actually sort of setting up a little business where you could make a living back for doing what you do? I think that would be a grand idea for you. I really do.
Yeah, it's something I've pondered. I would love to, become like a life coach or some sort of therapist who's got lived experience. Because I find you get more respect of people who are going through it than someone who's just reading it from a book.
Yeah, absolutely. And, if somebody knows you've been through something, then you've got an understanding of that, anyone else hasn't. And I think, certainly I get clients come in and see me that actually the universe, I think, gives me clients who've been through or going through stuff that I've already been through and dealt with. So I've got the lived experience, and without me even sort of saying anything, the universe provides a client to me who's going through things that I've dealt with already. So I think it's quite interesting to view it in that way. There's a great phrase when I was training, you get the clients you need, not always the clients you want. And I think that's kind of interesting to look at life that way.
Yeah.
And the other thing I was going to talk about as well is, sorry, were you going to say something then? I just
No. I was just agreeing with you.
Yeah, no, I was going to say about this idea of breakdowns. Having been through a breakdown yourself, what's your opinion on that? Because I think society's got a real negative view of breakdowns, and I'm not sure that I entirely agree with that. But I'm really interested to find out what you think, Liam.
Yeah, I mean, from my own perspective, there was a lot going on which contributed to it actually starting. And I didn't realise I was in a breakdown until maybe 2 or 3 weeks. It's when I really started to go, I'm in a really serious situation here. But I don't think, at the time, I thought there was gross negligence from my doctors taking me off all my meds and not giving me anything. So for them remaining 9 weeks, I had to endure withdrawal symptoms. And I said to my dad, I think I've got cancer. I honestly think I've got cancer, because I was vomiting 30 times a day.
Jesus.
In them 10 weeks, I'd lost 4 stone.
Wow.
And, I've always been like a fit-looking lad, like I'd lifted weights, but I'd look like I was terminally ill.
I can see you're quite a broad lad. Now, you've got some decent muscles on you, mate,
I just started... I was actually, when the doctors were coming out, I was crying, saying, look, I need you to give me either the same meds or another med, because my body can't take this. And it was like, I got to the point, I started to think irrationally, and I started to think, are they doing it on purpose? Why aren't they listening? I know that's a bit delusional, but it's what I felt at the time.
Yeah, I think it's relevant, man. If you're feeling like that, it's quite awful, isn't it? It's almost like a decision made by somebody who's got a lack of understanding of what's actually going on for you, and more to the point, not listening to what you're experiencing. Do
No,
you know what I
no.
mean? Not taking into account the discomfort and the pain that you were in, and you know what I
Yeah,
mean, all the rest of it, and how that was then affecting your mental state as well.
yeah, yeah.
You know, the whole
And at the
lot
time,
kit and caboodle was like a melting pot of disaster coming, wasn't it? You know?
yeah, wow. Yeah, if I was gonna have that same breakdown today, I think there's more services available to me than there was at the time, because it was just doctors coming out instead of me. Like when I had me therapy for me PTSD and me depression, I was going to a facility
Yeah.
and I was speaking to someone who I trusted, and I had an immediate rapport with. But with the other doctors, when I had that breakdown 10 years ago, that they didn't seem interested. They were very dismissive and weren't listening to my cry for help. So I think there's definitely been changes in, well, from my perspective, in 10 years, there's a lot more available now. There's, like I said to you before, there's still a lot of work to do with mental health, whether it's the therapeutic side or the education side, education side of things. But you know, I think it was wrong back what they were doing to me, the doctors. I just think it was wrong at the time.
Yeah, in a funny way, it kind of probably played a large part, like you said, in the actual breakdown itself. You
Yeah.
know, it contributed to it. And I've kind of, having gone through a couple of breakdowns myself over the years, I've had a couple of emotional
Yeah.
breakdowns completely. One of which was what kind of led me into going into therapy myself, and then
Yeah.
that was what sparked my interest in wanting to become a therapist. So
Yeah.
I can kind of look at it as being a positive thing eventually. At the time, it
Yeah.
didn't
Yeah.
seem like it for me, but positive thing eventually, because it brought me to where I am today.
Yeah. Yeah.
But more than that, I think my view of breakdowns is it's less of, I see it less as a breakdown these days and more of like a positive disintegration, which
Yeah.
is something that I picked up from a book, a guy called Kazimierz Dabrowski. He was a student of Carl Jung, and he came up with
Oh, nice.
this theory of positive disintegration, and it was a way of
Yeah.
explaining emotional breakdowns in people and looking at it from a completely different point of view. And basically, the theory is that, you know, to explain it with like a bit of an analogy, is like if you've got a wall that was built by dodgy builders and co, and they haven't used very good
Yeah.
cement, and they've missed the odd brick out, and do you know what I mean? It's a
Yeah.
bit
Yeah.
wonky. It's not the greatest, strongest wall in the world. It's kind of standing up, but you know, a bit of a breeze and it'll fall over. So, you know, you get a bit of a breeze come in, the wall falls over, you've got to rebuild it from the bottom up. And then you can
Yeah.
build yourself a nice straight wall with good strong concrete in between the joints. And,
Yeah.
you know, so I kind of look at that positive disintegration as an opportunity to rebuild and come back stronger, which is, of course, exactly what
Yeah.
you've done.
Yeah. Yeah.
110% exactly what you've done.
Right.
I just wanted to kind of sort of get that out there, because I think that's a message that many people need to hear, that, you know, if you're
Yeah.
having a bad time, if you feel like you're having a breakdown, it might not seem like it right now, but it probably is in the long run what you need.
Yeah.
Is again, it's not what you want, it's what you need, and the universe
Yeah.
sometimes
Yeah.
does that. It will show you, you know, what you need, and you might think, oh my god, that's not what I want at all, but actually in the long
Yeah.
run, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I mean, when I can look back now and like reflect on what's happened, I'm grateful for them struggles, because I wouldn't have become this strong person I am today. The transformation, not just the breakdown, the breakdown, but not just that, also not conquering, but controlling the PTSD and depression. I was a caterpillar and I had to go into the cocoon, and
Yeah.
I've made an upgrade, and now I'm the butterfly. You know, I got through them tough moments, and that's going to stay with me forever. So no matter what I go through now, if there is a blip along the way, I'll know that I can get through it, because it won't be as bad as what's happened. That I've had the extreme on a number of occasions, and I've become strong because I've adapted to me situation, and I've adjusted my mindset, and now I'm the person you see today who's grateful for the struggles, because I wouldn't have been in this position. I wouldn't have become this strong person that you see today.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. That is amazing. Sounds like you've had
Thanks, mate.
some really good people around you as well. Obviously, you know, partner
Yeah,
and
yeah,
parents and all the rest of it.
yeah.
What's that been like for them while you've been going through all of this? Have you seen them kind of struggle with that mentally as well? Has it been difficult, or do they kind of take strength from you? You know.
Yeah, yeah. But my mum passed 4 years ago, but
Sorry to hear that, mate.
it's all right, mate. It's okay. My mum was, I'm a baby. I'm a firstborn, so she was gutted when I was first diagnosed with depression and hearing voices and that. Yeah, it was hard on them, but they stayed strong. I was lucky. A lot of people going through similar issues don't have that support network around them, so I was lucky on that side. But when I was going through the breakdown, I had a heart to out with my partner, and I said, "Look, you're gonna have to leave me, because if this is forever, this is no way for you to live." And she stood by me, and I think that acted as the catalyst behind me. You know what? If she's prepared to stick with me through this, then you know that's solidified what I believe is to be the answer. Absolutely. So all of this contributed to me eventually recovering. It all acted as like little pinpoints of, yeah, that okay, that makes sense. Okay, now I'm going to use that to get out of this, even though it looks like a very, very difficult situation. So I'm lucky. I deserve to be where I am because I've worked hard, but I'm lucky to have had the support around me, because a lot of people don't get that, and that's just, you know, it's a sad fact that people don't have that, because everyone deserves that.
Yeah, everybody deserves the support. You're right, and you know, as much as the NHS is brilliant at doing some things, I don't think mental health is one of them. In my opinion, I don't think there is enough provision by the NHS. You know, I think it can be great for some things, but for some people, they need a lot more. You know, it's a bit of a sticking plaster in some situations. You know, I can appreciate there's not enough money, but you know, we can find money for missiles. You know, we can find money to help people with mental health. I think that it shouldn't be left to all the charities. You know, and I'm a big supporter of charities like Mind and you know, Mental Health Foundation and charities like that. You know, I did skydive earlier this year to raise money for Mental Health Awareness Week, and I just think it shouldn't be left to the charities. I'm really pleased we've got them, but it just shouldn't be left to them. I think it's kind of disgusting in a way.
I think, like, the richest people in the world, the elites, you know, you see, like, Mark Zuckerberg for Facebook, he's earning, like, he might lose $3 billion in one day, you know, because of the stock shares or whatever it is, and then he might make $11 billion tomorrow. It's like, it just fluctuates. Why can't they? Why has it got to be left, like you just said, to charities? Why can't the elites help out? Like you just said, that they're buying missile, you know, spending money, fortunes on war. You know, there's a big issue here, you know, within the world with mental health. You know, there's 1 in 4 will suffer with, or do suffer with, or will suffer with the mental health. So that's 1.75 billion. 1,750,000,000 people out there who are or will go through a mental health difficulty in their life.
That's an insane number, isn't it? When you do the figures, it's an insane number of people. And you know, the stats for men and male suicide are even more shocking.
It's the biggest killer, isn't it?
It is the biggest killer. Is it a lot of guys you get contacting you, or is it a mix? Do you get a mixture of both?
It's mainly women, but I have noticed since I've been doing my videos, I've had a lot more men contacting me. They say, don't, you know, keep this between us, don't, you know, because they're embarrassed. And I say, look, there's nothing, look at me, I'm not embarrassed, I'm doing it. I'm not saying I'm the best at what I do, but I'm effective. Take inspiration from the fact that I don't care what others think or what others are going to say. So I try and offer that encouragement to each man, you know, because it's not just men, it's women, but the bigger issue is men. Like you just said, the biggest, you know, there's men committing suicide every day. Hundreds upon, you know, thousands a day, and it's so sad to think that they think that's the solution. That's a very, very sad moment in someone's life, to think that this is what I need to do. It doesn't end. It might end your pain, but then your family take the brunt of that on then, and It's so sad. I've tried to take my life in the past. I've tried twice, and I'm glad I'm still here because I can educate now. I can educate people and I can help and show someone that it's not about what. I don't think I'm special or think I've got this or that. I'm just someone who doesn't quit. I'm just someone who just refuses to throw in the towel, and that's my skill. Very basic, but that's my skill. I don't quit.
I don't know. I think of that as basic, mate. I think that's a super strength. You know, you should have a fucking cape on, my friend. You know, I think you're a fucking superhero, Liam, for what you do. I really do, mate. I really do.
Thank
and you
you.
know, that message from men, you know, that's so powerful. It really is. You know, there's guys all over the world who just don't see any other option than that's my way out. You know, there's many other options, and I think you touched on something just now as well, of shame. It's shameful for a lot of men to admit they're struggling, and it shouldn't be that way. You know, it really shouldn't. And you know, if you've got the balls to come on a podcast and talk about all the traumas you've experienced and everything you've been through, and you know, all the cancer and the mental struggle and PTSD and everything else you've dealt with in your life, Liam. Then Jesus, I really wish people could learn from that, and you know that's my hope. Is I hope people learn from you and just see that there's an awful amount of courage and strength to be gained in talking about it, in admitting that there's a problem. You know, I mean, for a man to be raped is probably the fucking ultimate shameful thing that you could ever experience. You know. And God knows how many men there are out there who've been through that and have never talked about it. How many guys have been through public school where that kind of stuff happens all the time? Certainly in, maybe not so much now, but certainly in years gone by, you know, public schools were a hot pot of abuse, physical and sexual. You know, how many guys are there out there now in their 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s who've died and left this world now, having never even admitted that to somebody? You know, that blows my mind. So for you to come and talk about stuff like that and admit that to other men, I think more of that is needed. Because we need to make this, I don't want to say normalize it, because it's not a normalizing, but it's make it okay to talk about it. You know,
I'm just
make it less of a taboo. Yeah, exactly, mate. Exactly that. Educate. Yeah, completely.
Because you know, like I said, I don't give up. I don't quit, and that's what drives me. You know, I don't see myself as. You know, that was a nice compliment. I should have a cape. That was funny. I like that compliment.
Oh, you should. I might buy you one and send it in the post as a little present, mate. You know, next time you're on, you can chuck it on.
Have the mental health warrior on the back, like the boxes.
Absolutely, that's exactly what I was thinking. Exactly. Do you have a favourite colour, mate? You know.
Red.
Red. Yeah, cool. We'll get you a red cape. No problem. I think that it's these messages that you put out are just so full of hope and so full of determination that I defy anybody to watch one of your videos and ignore the messages that are in there, because it's like being punched in the face with positivity. You know what I mean? It's just it really is like that. I love it. I really love it.
Thank you. Thanks. No, I appreciate your feedback, mate. It's really nice. I respect it a lot. We've become good friends, and you know. To get a compliment off you like that means a lot to me, so I thank you for that.
Oh, no problem, mate. No problem. No problem at all. That kind of feels like a bit of a natural place to maybe wrap it up. We've gone just about an hour, I think, mate. As long as you're cool with that.
Long? An hour?
We've gone an hour already, yeah, absolutely.
It feels like 5 minutes.
I know, doesn't it, right? It's kind of kind of crazy. I was just looking at the timer over there on the recorder, and it's showing 56 minutes. I'm like, wow, that flew past. How did that happen?
Wow.
How did that happen? Would you like to read us out with one of your poems, and then give us a rundown of your socials and everything, and we'll have a little chat before we go, and then man, this has been a really enjoyable hour, Liam. I'm gonna definitely get you back on, mate, for sure.
Thank you.
Yeah, maybe hopefully one day down in Bristol in the studio. I'm just in the process of building a full-time home for the podcast. So I'd love to have you come down and guest in the studio one day, mate. That'd be awesome.
I've enjoyed it, mate. It's been an honour, honestly. I really appreciate you getting me on.
No worries, man. No worries.
Okay, this one's called I Have a Crown on My Head. I work hard every day to stay a few steps ahead. I'm the king of mental health. I have a crown on top of my head. I'm in a battle every day. In the long run, I'm at war. To stay alive and thrive at life is what I do this for. Hello, depression. This is my introduction. I am going to cause you harm with all-out destruction. It's true my life's been tough, but I love who I've become. I need the ammunition to put some bullets in my gun. At my lowest point, I prayed I'd make it through. All of a sudden, I backed myself. I suddenly knew what to do. My life is simplistic. I'm artistic, not egotistic. I'm linguistic and altruistic. I promise my peers that I'll stay by their side. We will fight back to back. I won't leave you stuck behind. When I execute each move, I do so properly. When it comes to my depression, there is no way it's stopping me. I want to share this with you all. This is my premonition. I will wipe the floor with the remaining competition. My mind is a fortress. Nothing's getting in. Every single day I wake, the hard work must begin. That's it.
That's gorgeous, mate. That's gorgeous.
Thank
what
you.
A message of strength that is. It really is.
Thank you, mate.
No worries. So, do you want to tell everybody about your socials, where they can contact you, your email address, all that kind of jazz, and I'll put all that in the show notes as well, so people can click links. But yeah,
obviously my name's Liam Kennedy, so just type in Liam Kennedy on Facebook. You'll see what's my profile pic. Can't even think now. Just look for Liam Kennedy, and if you read the bio, it'll say stigma fighter, creative writer, poet, author, never give up. TikTok is Mental Health Warrior 87 at Mental Health Warrior 87. Sorry, and my Instagram is mental_health_warrior_87, and that's it. And I've got a book. I'm a published author. It's called From Tears to Glory. If you want to check that out,
awesome.
Type in on Google Liam Kennedy From Tears to Glory, and you'll see me book.
No worries. And what's the book about, mate? I didn't realise you'd published one already.
Oh, sorry, I thought you knew.
No. Or if I did, I'd completely forgotten it out of my head. I do apologise for that. I just said that at the start.
Oh, it's okay. It's all right. I was it contains me first 250 poems that I wrote.
Awesome.
It was published in 2018.
Amazing.
So it's been circulating for 5 years now.
Yeah, no, it was the audiobook we were talking about getting you recorded on, wasn't it? I remember now. I can remember now. Yeah, awesome. So, yeah, we'll put a link into that. Is that up on Amazon or anywhere like that? Can we,
Amazon?
Yeah, no worries. I'll put an Amazon link in that for the show notes then, and we can have a look. Amazing stuff, Liam. Thank you so much for joining me today, mate. I've seriously really enjoyed this. First of many, I hope, my friend. First of many.
Absolutely, mate.
Listen, take care. Enjoy the rest of your day, buddy. And thanks very much.
Never give up.
Never give up. That's Liam's hashtag, never give up.
Thanks, mate.
Cheers, Liam. Thanks, man.
Take care, mate.
Bye.